I don't really know how to start this, and I'm already expecting people to tell me I'm overthinking things, but I need to write this out somewhere. I live alone, one bedroom apartment, third floor, nothing fancy, but it's quiet. And until recently, I felt safe. I'm not paranoid. I don't drink. I don't use anything that would mess with my memory. I work from home. I keep to myself. And I don't talk to my neighbors much. That last part is important. There's one neighbor in particular, the guy across the hall. I don't know his last name. I don't even know his first name for sure. I'll call him Mark because that's what his package labels say. I spoke with him one time. That's it. One conversation, less than a minute. But somehow he knows things about me that I never told him. I'll explain. Our apartment building is shaped like a rectangle with apartments facing each other down a narrow hallway. My door and his door are directly across from each other. You could open both doors at the same time and almost touch fingertips. For months, we never interacted. Sometimes I'd hear his door open or close. Sometimes I'd see his shoes outside his door, always lined up neatly, always facing the same direction. That detail stuck with me, even back then. About 3 months ago, we ran into each other late at night. I was taking trash out around midnight. He was coming back in, keys already in hand. We nodded. That should have been the end of it. But he smiled and said, "Long day?" "Normal. Completely normal." I said, some generic, like, "Yeah, work stuff." And then he said, "Yeah, you usually shut your lights off around 1. Makes sense." I remember laughing a little because I thought he was joking. I even said something like, "Guess I'm predictable, huh?" He laughed too. Then he went inside his apartment. That was it. End of interaction. But the comment stuck with me. Not in a dramatic way, just lodged itself somewhere in my head. After that, I started noticing small things, not changes, just awareness. Like how when I came home late, his lights were always off. But if I came home early, sometimes they were on. I told myself it was coincidence. We live across the hall. Of course, I'd notice lights. Then one night, maybe a week later, I ran into him again. This time it was earlier, around 9:30. He said, "Off schedule tonight?" I asked what he meant. He shrugged and said, "Usually show usually shower later." That was the moment my stomach dropped. I laughed again. I do that when I'm uncomfortable. I asked how he know that. He said, "The pipes are loud in this building," which is true. The pipes are loud. Still, sometimes something about the way he said it made my skin feel tight, like he wasn't guessing, like he was stating a fact. I went into my apartment and locked the door. I remember standing there for a second longer than usual, hands still on the deadbolt. Here's the thing, I don't do anything unusual at night. I shower, I brush my teeth, I scroll on my phone, I turn off the lights, I sleep. That's it. But once the night entered my head, that someone might be tracking that routine, I couldn't shake it. I started changing things slightly, showering earlier, leaving one light on, locking the door louder than usual, and that's when his comments changed. About 2 weeks later, I ran into him by the mailboxes. He looked tired, dark circles under his eyes, same calm smile. He said, "You didn't sleep well last night, did you?" I didn't answer right away. He followed it up quickly, like he realized he's gone too far. "I heard you moving around a lot." I asked him what he meant by that. He said, "Just pacing back and forth." "I don't pace. I never had." I told him I slept fine. He tilted his head slightly and said, "Huh, must have been someone else then." That sentence played in my head all day. I wish I could say this is where it ends, that I moved out or I confronted him or I found some rational explanation, but it gets worse. and slower, which somehow made it worse. He never said anything directly threatening, never crossed the line that I could point to and say, "This is it. This is the problem." Instead, he started commenting on absences. "You were up late last night. You didn't turn the bathroom light on. You left the TV on." Each time, said casually, like observations, like weather. I stopped responding. I stopped making eye contact. I avoided leaving my apartment at night. That didn't stop him. One night, around 2 a.m., I woke up suddenly. No noise, no dream, just that feeling of being pulled out of sleep. I laid there, staring at the ceiling, listening. That's when I heard it. Soft footsteps in the hallway. They stopped directly outside my door. I held my breath. After maybe 10 seconds, I heard his door open, then close. The footsteps went away. The next morning, I found a note tucked under my door. Just a single line written neatly. "Sorry if I woke you up." I checked the hallway camera footage from the building portal. There's a camera at the end of the hall. The footage from that night was missing. Not corrupted, not blurry, just missing. I started sleeping with my bedroom door locked. I know that sounds excessive, but it helped me feel better. Until he noticed. 2 days later, he said, "You don't need to lock that." I asked him what he meant. He smiled and said, "You wake up when the handle turns anyway." I didn't respond. I just went inside and locked both locks. Last week was the worst part. I came home later than usual, almost about 3 a.m. The hallway lights were off, motion sensor, they flickered on as I stepped out the elevator. He was standing outside his door, not unlocking it, just standing there, facing my door. He looked up when he heard me. "Oh," he said, "you're early." I asked him how long he'd been standing there. He said, "Long enough to know you won't sleep tonight." I went inside without saying anything. I didn't sleep that night. This morning, as I was leaving for coffee, I saw something taped gently to my door frame. Not taped to the door, the frame, like it was meant to be found when I stepped out. Another note, same handwriting. "You move a lot in your sleep." I don't know how he would know that. I don't want to know how he would know that. I'm sitting on my bed right now typing this because it's getting late and I don't want to lie down yet. If anyone has a rational explanation for this, a real one, I'm open to it. But please don't tell me I'm imagining things because tonight, for the first time, his lights are on and mine are off.